Hello everyone, it's Anton on the go here, and for today's vlog, I thought of introducing to all of you the world's most northern Catholic church. But before we get into that, I want to give you a bit of background as to where I'm currently living and working, and that is here in Pond Inlet, Nunavut, within the Arctic Circle. If you don't know where Nunavut is, or if it's your first time hearing of it, Nunavut is Canada's most northern territory, where a large section of it is within the Arctic Circle. And mostly indigenous people or the Inuit inhabit this region of Canada. And no, you cannot find penguins here, but there are polar bears, seals, and caribou among others. Temperatures can dip as low as -60 here, and you can check out my channel more about Nunavut. So you can check out my channel here about some of my adventures in this cold but beautiful place. So here's my friend Marielle. We are now walking to the world's most northern Catholic church. But yes, Pond Inlet is a hamlet of about 2,000 people. So it's one of those places where everyone knows each other, and life is much slower up here compared to the bigger cities down south. The locals here are very friendly, warm and open, and they greet you on the street. So I'm currently a teacher at the local high school, and this is my second year living and working up here. And so as a Catholic living up here, some of you might be curious about the Catholic Church and my faith life in the Arctic Circle. Some of you might even have questions as to how I'm able to live out my faith, go to Mass, and so on. And let me tell you something. After living here for 2 years, my perspective on missionaries and the saints who have gone to foreign lands to spread the gospel have completely changed. What they went through isn't easy at all. We read it in books, we see it in movies, we watch it in documentaries, etc. so on. But to live up here is to have a small taste of what the missionaries went through. This is mission territory. And not too many people may know this, but the local Catholic Church here is the world's most northern Catholic Church, as I mentioned a while ago. You won't find anything on Google. And if you type the words most northern Catholic Church, it will most likely give you a church in Tromso in Norway. So I learned that Tromso is located along the 69th north parallel latitude. Pond Inlet, however, is along the 72nd north parallel latitude. So if this is the case, then the local church here in the town is the world's most northern Catholic church. Right, Maria? So we are currently going to the church right now. It's a bit of a walk. It's around 11 a.m., but it feels like 6 p.m.
The history of the Catholic mission here in Pond Inlet is barely 100 years old and fairly recent. On July 16, 1929, Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, 2 priests of the Oblates of Mary Immaculate, Father Prime Girard and Father Etienne Bazin, departed Montreal aboard the ship called the Nascope and headed up north. The 2 priests were never to see their families again and arrived here in Pond Inlet on September 2nd. The 2 priests went straight to work right away as soon as they set foot here in the community. The first Mass in Pond Inlet was celebrated by Father Bazin on September 8th, Feast of the Nativity of the Blessed Mother, in a building that the Royal Canadian Mountie Police Officers of the Nascope, Hudson Bay Company's ship, helped to construct. That same month, Father Etienne Bazin placed a large cross which to this day sits on top of the hill facing west, watching over the very first part of the settlement of Pond Inlet that grew very fast. In the fall of 1929, a small church was built on the side of a hill and dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. This very church still stands today as the oldest building here in Pond Inlet. From the very beginning, missionaries were dedicated to the Inuit, but it was no easy task. According to the memories of the missionaries of that time, during his first 6 years in Pond Inlet, Father Girard baptized only few elders or infants on their deathbed. The first baptism was celebrated here in Pond Inlet in November of 1929. Otutsiak was one of the first Inuit to be baptized at the Roman Catholic mission. In 1936, there was only one Catholic Inuk, Helen Oblurir, but she was baptized at another community named Iglulik. As far as I am aware, I have to note here that the missionary priests did not force the locals to convert to the faith. The spread of Catholicism here in Pond Inlet was slow, but those who were baptized into the Catholic Church carried and passed down the faith within their families. Today, according to a 2021 consensus of Pond Inlet, Statistics Canada reported that roughly 7% of the community are Catholic. To the best of my knowledge, prior to my arrival here in Pond Inlet, I was told there wasn't a regular priest in town for roughly a decade, and many of the parishioners of the Sacred Heart Church had gone to the Anglican Church for services. However, in August of 2023, Father Patrick, a priest whom I befriended, has moved up here to serve the local people. It's very easy to assume that nothing much goes on in a small and isolated Arctic community such as Pond Inlet, especially when it comes to the faith life of the local Catholic Church. However, as Christ said in Matthew chapter 18 verse 20, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them." So you might wonder, what are some of the parish programs and activities done in the world's most northern Catholic Church? The Catholic community here in Pond Inlet is indeed small, but I'd like to believe it is thriving in its own simple way. Every Tuesday, Father Patrick conducts a Bible study group or gospel workshop where we come together as a community, read the gospel for the coming Sunday, and discuss any clarifications or questions that we might have. We are usually a small group of only 3 to 4 people, but such small group discussions are very fruitful and refreshing for our spiritual lives. Every Sunday, there are roughly 10 to 15 parishioners who come for Mass, which is done both in English and mostly in Inuktitut, the local indigenous language. During Sunday evenings at 6 p.m., we also have adoration of the Blessed Sacrament for about an hour, where we also sometimes recite the Rosary or have silent time with Jesus. As a teacher, this is a good way to end the day and start a brand new week, especially with our busy, hectic, and even exhausting schedule. Here in Pond Inlet, Easter and Christmas are usually very important seasons, and the church is usually packed. During Easter, we do the usual Holy Thursday and Good Friday celebrations, but during the Easter Vigil, the entire community is gathered inside the church, where the local elders light a kulik, which is an Inuit ceremonial tradition involving the lighting of oil in a soapstone lamp. After Mass, there is usually a small feast at the reception room in the church where people bring local country food such as makta or whale. So Father made some bread and there's some grape. And here in Pond Inlet, the way the locals celebrate Easter is by having, what do you call this, makda?
Narwhal skin.
Narwhal skin, makda. So it's very unique. Here we go. Look at that. Yeah.
When the season of Advent arrives, some of my friends, co-workers, and myself decorate the church for the Christmas season.
It is November 30th. It is the beginning of the Advent season. So here in Pond Inlet, around this time, we also decorate the church in preparation for Christ's coming. We are making the nativity scene without Jesus. Without Jesus yet. Because he's not there yet. We are now gonna put up the Christmas tree right by the altar.
During major feast days such as the Immaculate Conception, we have prayer services where a small handful of us sing hymns and pray to the Blessed Mother. And there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed this thorough glimpse of Catholic life in the Arctic in the world's most northern Catholic church. While the Catholic community is pretty small here in Pond Inlet, it certainly is pretty active throughout the year. We are very blessed to have a priest here in town, and we ask you who is watching right now to keep us in your prayers. God bless and Ave Maria.